Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience. You can see I'm wearing my Masters green cardigan, and I have no more t-shirts left because I haven't done laundry in like 3 weeks. So hot pink coming at you fire-wise for the Tournament of Champions. This is the preview. The DraftKings show will be coming out on Wednesday with Ben Raza. We'll be breaking down that from that specific angle. Today we'll be talking about the outright winning odds, maybe some first-round leaders. It's very rare that we get odds so far in advance of a tournament that, we can have some fun with this one. Mostly, you're going to be waiting until Monday afternoon, maybe Tuesday morning, depending on the tournament to get them. But, Geoff Fienberg's here, fresh off his CNN debut.
That was very interesting.
I thought you were still stuck on I told everyone last week when Gary filled in for you that you were still stuck on the ride.
No, and it was all so stupid. I'll be perfectly honest. I just sent out my own tweet for my own experience for you guys, my followers, to laugh at me. And next thing I know, I'm getting 50 news agencies sliding into my DMs. And I'll tell you this, epic fail on my part.
For not hyping Masters picks?
I should have, I just should have gone, I should have just Baba Booied him because I'm a big Stern guy, or I just should have gone right into Ricky Fowler's winning the Masters.
Yeah, watch me on the Pat Mayo Experience.
Yeah, just gone right into it. Just sold it. Stayed on brand. And then when Ricky Fowler wins the Masters, that becomes a
thing.
A viral thing. And if he doesn't win the Masters, who's ever going to remember that? I was real mad at myself. But also, I was planning on the way out maybe to get something in, and Don Lemon didn't give me a goodbye.
Just you straight out?
Yeah. I thought I was getting a goodbye, so I was saving it. But in the end, epic miscalculation for just not firing with it.
San Diego was good?
Fantastic.
Warm? Because it was not warm here.
It's beautiful.
I went to 3 separate places. I was in Toronto, I was in Halifax, I was in Detroit. All really cold. Incredibly cold.
It's cold here.
Yeah.
It is cold. San Diego is fantastic.
Did you go to In-N-Out Burger?
I went twice.
That's 2 more times than Tim has ever been?
Yeah. And me and my elitist baby enjoyed a fabulous meal.
For anyone looking for football picks, Geoff, Tim, and I will be back towards the end of the week. I'll have a DraftKings show as well. Trying to work on a guest right now. Hopefully I can get who I want. If not, I'll just do it by myself or call Tim or something like that. I'm sure I can get someone. I may even get Sealy on because I never actually have him on the DraftKings show.
Why not?
Yeah, it's always a good time to talk to Sealy.
And we're going to do a pick show.
Oh, yeah, we're going to do a pick show
right.
for sure. Oh, yeah, we'll be doing pick shows all the way up through. If people missed out on some of the holiday content because, people aren't watching YouTube or downloading podcasts all the time over the holiday season, you and I did our 10 players each we're excited about. You, Tim, and I did our majors preview and the season preview. So that's all up. You can go back and, absorb that before the tournament starts. And Bergerson, Raza, and I sat down and did an over an hour DraftKings golf strategy show. So where to research your picks, the best tools to use, what you should be looking for. Does course history matter? Does recent form matter? All that stuff. How to pick tournaments, because that's always the one that I get screwed up with on DraftKings. What tournament should I actually be playing in here? Should I be max entering the $3 against 100,000 people, or should I just take that money and play an $80 single entry kind of thing?
All great questions, and all those shows, I think that DraftKings strategy show for any newbie is evergreen. But even our top 10 excited list and our major preview, those are kind of those will live for 8 weeks. So,
yeah, when people
8 weeks a little strong.
Well, the thing is, the way that I tagged it was if you type in Masters picks, it will still come up 2 months from now.
But that 10, I really enjoyed that list, the list show that we made, and I think that's at least good. Even if you don't get it in before this week's tournament, it still works because a lot of those guys aren't even playing.
This is true. Although Austin Cook is playing this week. Although I did not pick him. Spoiler alert.
I thought you might.
I was heavily considering it.
Just cause.
I use FantasyNational.com. It's no longer in the free trial period. You got to pay for a membership for the club now. But there's a win simulator on there. They run the tournament 1,000 times. Austin Cook has the 4th best odds according to the simulator to win. I don't necessarily agree with that. Okay. But that's based a lot off recent form. He's been playing really well. But I just
love Fantasy National, love rolling stats.
Yeah, rolling stats are where it's at.
Just like if you did rolling stats on my NFL Pick'em. You
heated up towards. I don't know. I actually haven't totaled it up to see how Garion did for you. I think he actually did quite well. You had a chance to, with a really, really big week, you had a chance to finish over 500 for the year. which is shocking because you were 30 games under at one point.
So, like I said, in the rolling stats world, I would be peaking.
Yes. Want to let everyone know, give the episode a like, and we actually are moving to our new studio very, very soon. So, one last chance to get yourself into the draw for some special prizes. Spoiler alert, it could just be DK bucks, but either way, who wouldn't want some free DK bucks? So whoever you think is going to win this week, put that in the comment section along with giving us a like and iTunes review, whatever it is. Leave it in there along with your DraftKings name, and boom, you're in the draw. Doesn't mean you win. I remember I did this last year. I was like, hey, I'm doing a draw. I'm giving away free Millionaire Maker tickets. Put in your DraftKings name, da-da-da-da-da, and there was a couple people who entered, like, where's my free DraftKings? Like, you didn't win the draw. They're like, oh, I was confused by the rules. Yes, I'm going to give out free Millionaire Maker tickets to the 1,000 people that signed up. I'd be broke. DraftKings would be broke.
The internet.
People just want stuff for free, like Tim, the cyber mooches.
I don't know. Nothing gets... Have you ever retweeted anything where it's like...
Do this and you win?
Yeah.
No, but I only usually
It's like, I bought 500 Bitcoin back in whenever, and now I'm giving away 5 Bitcoin.
No. Like, that's never going to happen.
Or like if McGregor loses, if Floyd Mayweather wins, I'll give everybody like $100. And then like these things get like thousands of retweets.
Yeah, that's never happened. The only one that I ever retweet, and I'm not looking for it for getting the free entries, but Jason Robbins, the CEO of DraftKings, always says like, hey, I'll give out a 444. He's good for it. He owns a company, so he's got $444 to chuck around. It's not me. I don't. Maybe on some golf bets. We'll see. All right, let's get into the tournament. It's finally here. I'm very excited. So Kapalua has been the host course of the Tournament of Champions since 1999, so the players are familiar if they've won a tournament before. A lot of the caddies are very familiar. There's a lot of undulation. It's apparently the worst course to walk for caddies because, they're heavy-set fellas, a lot of them. They're not in great shape. It takes a lot out of them. It's very windy as well. But it's a par 73, the only par 73 on tour. It was the easiest course in the rotation last year, although, birdies are going to be galore. There's only 3 par 3s.
Always.
Yes.
Someone is catching a heater.
But the thing is, you need to catch like 3 heaters over the course of the 4 rounds to actually win. Last year, Jordan Spieth actually made the most birdies in the field, and Justin Thomas still won by like 3 strokes. I went and looked up why. He was like 5th last in the field in short game, which I wouldn't really bank on, and he still came 3rd. So, I think people know where I'm going to go with my picks. This is a tournament where... Obviously, you had to win the year before in order to get in. That's the only way that you can get in. They can't even make like a Tiger exception to get him in. There's only 34 players in the field. There's no cut. So you're going to get your 4 rounds out of everyone, and the best players generally do rise to the surface. Like, there's not a lot of scrub winners who win this event.
I haven't seen it.
I think Daniel Chopra is the last one. I'd say...
Ogilvy might have won it, but he wasn't a scrub pro.
Ogilvy won it 3 times, but he's also won a U.S. Open, so...
And he's probably ranked very high.
I think he just... Aussies do well here, and we'll talk about Cam Smith in a second.
And there's a couple, yeah.
But, if Jason Day was in it, you'd probably pick Jason Day. But he didn't win last year. He missed that putt against Billy Horschel. Billy Horschel's in the field.
I'd say, yeah, Jason Day and Patrick Reed, like, who are the 2 most surprising guys that aren't here?
Those 2. Rose didn't have a win until Europe, so he didn't technically qualify. Stenson's just not playing. He won
a few guys aren't playing. Sergio's not
not playing.
Is that it for not playing?
I can't remember. I had to go look up what tournament Chris Stroud won, and I've already forgotten it again.
Me too.
I remember which one Jonas Blixt won because...
It was the Cam Smith
Smith one. It's like, I remember betting on them that week. That was good. Good news.
But that didn't get them into the Masters?
No.
But it got them here.
It got them here. But
Masters is like too pump. No.
You can't get in with a team event to the Masters. Although Blix might be like, he came 2nd at the Masters one year, so he might still have like an exemption of some sort.
Maybe.
And Cam Smith will get in because he won the Aussie Masters
and that's,
like 2 weeks ago. Aussie PGA Championship.
Yeah, I'm high on him for this week, and we'll talk about it.
So the course is easy, is all I really want to say. But I did some corollary, like, look back at it. Like, when you're looking at past champs here, Spieth has won here. Justin Thomas obviously won last year because he loves a good no-cut event, not on continental USA. That's usually his forte. Then he won the Sony Open the next week and fired a 59. I don't know if he's riding the same sort of heater right now as he was then.
We also won in Kuala Lumpur.
Yes.
That swing.
I believe he won that again this year, didn't he? No, Pat Perez won.
He went just because
he's won it like 3 times in a row.
Yeah, and he probably committed to it after the year he had. Maybe wanted to not go, but he's in a different place heading into this Tournament of Champions than he was a year ago.
Yes, now he's the number 3 ranked player in the world. And he was the player of the year. He won the FedEx Cup.
But a lot of players maybe can look at, him winning. Like, Justin won this last year, and it catapulted him for a huge season.
Yeah,
Give me one of those.
I agree. And we'll see if we can figure out who it is. But just a lot of elite company, winning. Like, Patrick Reed has won. Spieth has won. Stricker won. Zach Johnson won.
DJ rain shortened, but
DJ
he
54
won.
holes. That was, it was windy that year. The winds can pick up here out of nowhere. It's in Hawaii. And it's on the coast, so it can get up to 90-mile-per-hour winds. That's not expected to be in the forecast right now. But the one thing that you'll notice between a lot of the winners, and I'll talk about the key stats for just a second, but shorter hitters play well here. The really wide fairways at Kapalua, and there's a lot of elevation changes, and the 14th hole is drivable. It's a par 4. But other than that, there's no real distinct advantage to being a bomber here. Even when you look at the par 5s, I think there was 10 total eagles on the par 5s last year. It's not like, Tony Finau's in the field, or even Dustin. Dustin bombs it, hits his 4-iron in or 7-iron in, and makes eagle. That's just not really on the table.
I wanted to bet Finau here. That sounds really stupid. And then
well, he didn't win,
he
can't be here.
It would have set up really nice for him.
But
I got caught looking for Finau the first time I stared at the odds.
Well,
and then it hits you. It's a special place.
Someone asked me on Twitter this morning. It's I think Stenson rates out really well here. I'm thinking about using him. It's I'm gonna have to back penalty off that one. It's I'm not usually 100% really in on a pick, but I'm telling you, don't use Henrik Stenson not playing. Probably shouldn't do that. I mean, I can make picks that are just as bad that won't win, but that one I know is probably not going to win. So Kapalua, 7,452 yards, par 73, Bermuda grass greens, Kapalua Plantation course. For the key stats that I looked for, this is kind of weird. Strokes gained approach I used, and you can find this all in my article on dkplaybook.com. Some of the links to the stats you can't just look up. So I have strokes gained, par 4 from 350 to 400 yards. 5 of the 11 par 4s are short. That's why the Bombers don't have a huge advantage. They're not drivable for the Bombers, but the players like your Zach Johnsons and Steve Strickers of the world can just hit it to 115 yards and use their awesome wedge game. So I have that one in there. Strokes gained short game, because if it gets windy and you do miss, it's not so much that you're really concerned about scoring because of short game, but if you start making bogeys here, you're done. You can't make bogeys. It's not the U.S. Open. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and like you said, Spieth made the most amount of birdies, didn't win, and it's those bogeys that will really do you in, because everyone is pounding in the birdies.
Yeah, the winning score is going to be 25 under. You can't make bogeys. You just need to if you can save yourself 3 bogeys on the card, that's usually good enough to win if you're playing well. That's what Thomas did last year. He was just, I think he was 11th in short game if you go back and
look.
A
big number will end you.
Yes, but there aren't very many big, unless you hit it off the cliff into the Pacific Ocean. I think you're doing all right. So those two, proximity, and now I did this one together, and this is what you can do at Fantasy Nationals, combine stats and look at it. So I had proximity from 125 yards and in, plus beyond 200 yards, because there's a lot of wedge short approaches. There's also some of these really long par 4s, and the par 5s are really long, that long irons do come into play a lot. Like Justin Thomas blew everyone out last season when I went and looked at it from strokes gained from that range the year before. Spieth blew everyone out. Patrick Reed did it the year that he won. So these long irons are going to come into play. And par 5s. You got to score on the par 5s. But it's not like it would be at Glen Abbey, for example, where the Bombers make eagles and that really inflates it. Jordan Spieth led the field in par 5 scoring one year. That's not typical. You know what I mean? It's because there's a lot of drive, set yourself up, hit a wedge, make a birdie. It's not like, hey, I'm going to have an eagle try and have a tap-in birdie. There's very few of those at this course. So I do actually think it doesn't necessarily favor the shorter hitters, but most courses are a huge advantage to Bombers, and this one just isn't. So for corollary courses, John Deere Classic has produced a lot of winners at this event, weirdly enough. Spieth has won John Deere.
I'm not buying it.
How are you not buying that?
It's so weird.
But Spieth has won here. Yeah. Stricker won.
Well, Zach's won here?
Zach's won here. Stricker's won here. Jonathan Bird has won here. And he's another. VJ has won here. That's another one.
Aren't these Muni greens, though?
These are Bermuda greens, and they're very undulating. Baroff actually kind of pointed out to me because I found the 3 that correlated the most. People say the Masters. That's just because a lot of people play in this tournament that also play in the Masters.
Hold on. How is that even a thing?
It's because the greens are like this. That's why first-time players here there's a lot of undulation in the green, and they're very, very slow. Unlike the Masters, but like getting a sense of the up and down of the green.
Wasn't Justin Thomas a first-time player last year?
No, I think he played it the year before.
Oh.
Because he won the CIMBC 2 years in a row. I'll actually look at that right now. Let's see. Justin Thomas he came 21st his first year, and he won it last year. So first-time players don't particularly play well here, which makes bad news for my betting card, but they're deeper odds. I have one guy that I'm kind of pushing on, and then take a few flyers down at the bottom. But Baroff pointed out that I found the Wyndham and Pebble Beach were the other 2 that had like a lot of crossover. And he just basically said, despite the fact, the Wyndham is Bermuda grass, and obviously it's crappy POA at Pebble, but there's just the greens are difficult to putt on. But if you're a good putter, you get a sense of it. Like Dustin's had a lot of success at Pebble over the years. And like Patrick Reed won the Wyndham, then he won here. So those are the ones that I'm kind of looking for when it comes to it. Let's get to the field, though. And the odds, starting at the top, we got Jordan Spieth now down to 5.5 to 1. That is down. He was 6 to 1 to open the week. Justin Thomas 6.5 to 1. Ricky Fowler 7. Dustin Johnson 7. Hideki 10. Brooks 12. John Rahm 12. Mark Leishman 20 to 1. Patrick Cantlay 22 to 1. And Xander Schauffele 25 to 1 to win this event. It's tough. Good players generally win here, so you almost want to take one of these guys from the top. I know since the odds did come out early, you had parlayed a few football games with some of these guys to pound them up. And thanks to Add-On 7X on Twitter, I played a 3 parlay on 2 bowl games, which I had no idea who was playing. Won both parlays and had Jordan Spieth at the Masters. So now I have Jordan Spieth at the Masters 28 to 1. I'm pretty excited about that.
That's very exciting.
And you have Hideki and who? Rahm?
John Rahm in like that 22 to 24 to 1 range for this week.
Yeah, thanks Colts money line.
Yeah, Colts, I don't know, parlayed some things together. Didn't touch the Ravens.
Smart.
Yeah.
I had Washington on most of my golf parlays. I lost.
So that was good. And yeah, this is really the only, outside of the majors, it was kind of the only time that you'll have odds.
Beforehand.
And that being said, this is something you can do. I don't bet the NBA. I don't bet the NHL. So it's not something that I'm looking to do. If those are leagues that you bet, college basketball, you can use this strategy all year because there's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Or you can just, if you're taking a 90 to 1 guy, just take the 90 to 1 guy.
Yeah, of course. I'm talking about more of like
it's
the lower
to prop
guys.
up the lower guys.
Yeah. Absolutely. But this is something that's really, like, this is a strategy I don't want to get involved in sports that I don't actually bet.
Know anything out?
Yeah. That's all I'm saying.
I did it with college football, but that's about it.
It's a little different. Do you at least watch, or you just
no? I looked at my app afterwards.
All right,
I won. Perfect.
And yeah, you've got a bit.
If there's someone that you trust to tail,
sure. And there's a gambler's mentality in some of it, also. But so those are the couple guys that I like. Of the favorites, for me it'd be Spieth or Ricky. If you were staying in the under 10 to 1
range,
yeah.
So shout out to Jude_UT4 on Twitter. He sent me this last year. It said, the top 5 at the Hero Challenge have never finished worse. They have never finished outside the top 10 at this event over the past 3 years. So I went and looked at it again this year. Ricky, it held up last year. And Ricky, Hideki, and Spieth all finished inside the top 5 at the Hero this year. I tried to make a 3-way top 10 parlay. They wouldn't let me do it. But either way, I think that one of those 3 guys is the way to play it. And you're going to get like your Brookses and your Rahms and those guys. Like, it's a very competitive field, but I just think Spieth wins. The only reason he didn't win last year is because he couldn't chip. And that is something that is not likely to happen again because he has probably the best short game, I don't want to say ever, but like of guys on tour, he's one of the ones I trust the most with his short game. And I even went and looked it up on fantasynational.com. coming in last year over his previous 5 tournaments, he was actually losing strokes to the field in strokes gained short game. This year, he's gaining 2.2 strokes per tournament coming in. So his short game's on point. I just think that Spieth is set up perfectly for this course. He's going to make his birdies. And when it comes to putting, he can handle more difficult putting surfaces over a lot of guys. It's, again, why Stricker ended up playing well here, why Tiger's played well here in the past. So it's not to say that he's a lock to win, but he is the first person on my card, which means that's all I can really take from the top end. And I just got a bunch more losers. I'm really banking on Spieth winning this week.
He's engaged, and if you watch, he's watching the bowl games, using his basement simulator, popping hole-in-ones in, so.
Not going in the water at the Masters. That was nice. Probably didn't show that one. He didn't Instagram that one.
I can't bash it. I just think that maybe some other guys will go lower. Hideki, of the guys with lower odds, would be my favorite bet. You mentioned me off air, after I suggested that remember just a year ago, he was the guy like everyone was fawning over at this exact moment. He ended up finishing second here last year. I see him. He's always a hot starter, right? And he's going to peak for Phoenix, as usual. But I see him getting going very early. Hideki and Rahm would be the guys at the top that I like the most.
Is it because Fowler's too expensive?
Yes. Which is kind of like a sign for things to come.
I think so, but I mean, if Ricky is the one, it's weird for the popularity that Ricky has. If he hits a downstretch, his odds do drop. Not like if Spieth has like a downstretch, like the worst you're really ever going to find him is like 11-1.
Yeah, same with Dustin. Yeah, at this point,
Ricky can drop to like 20 if he has like 3 bad tournaments in a row.
I guess,
and he's not immune to bad tournaments. This course does set up really well. Another really good putter that helps here. Short game putter.
I love everything about Ricky. I think he's going to have an enormous season. I think, to me, the best comparable that I see is, just how few times Jason Day won early in his career, and then he just like popped like a firecracker, won everything. That's the type of thing I see happening for Ricky. So if it starts Sunday, wouldn't shock me at all. But at that 750, I didn't even want to juice that up with football.
Yeah.
I just looked right past him and Dustin thinking that I don't know. And this is an easy course, so this is one that Ricky should really thrive at.
Yeah, I mean, we just saw him go bananas at the Hero. What did he make, like 8 birdies in his first 9 holes? Like, he's the perfect type of heater player to get this going. I mean, Spieth is too.
He also could have the big number. I'm not talking anything bad about Ricky. I'm not doing it. I just can't bet it.
You just don't like the number. Like, I don't like the Spieth 6 number, but I'm taking it.
I know, but once I did it and I hit those exotics, I'm just sort of I'm done. Here, the other thing also is with the Tournament of Champions early in Hawaii, sort of like a running scale on like how much I want to commit to a tournament.
Sure, and it's a small field tournament with really low odds and 10 really awesome players, and any one of them could win.
Like a major, like I guess you guys are in the DK world, you consider like a maximum to the extreme exposure week for me would be a major.
Yeah.
And then there's other big ones, and I don't know, here it's, I would say just under normal exposure.
Yeah, I will say.
Even though I like to start lighter, I'm already not as light.
You're excited to play golf again. Yeah. Come on. Everyone is. So I would caution against taking people from like way down in the field. I'll be doing a few like each ways with big numbers, but first timers do not play well here. And did we just give Justin Thomas no credit whatsoever at this tournament to win again? He's the second favorite, and we didn't really talk about him. 6.5 to 1, and he's the defending champion, and he kills no cut tournaments. Him and Hideki, they're the kings of no cut tournaments.
I don't know. I just hope Justin had a merry Christmas. He strikes me as a guy that like would have more fun than Jordan Spieth had accomplishing great things.
Jordan Spieth doesn't strike me as the type that has a lot of fun. Maybe he has fun in his own way.
Like, yeah, his fun
does not equate to my fun.
No, his fun is having his guys over to watch college football while he's hitting his golf simulator.
I like that he's still in the swing of things.
Yeah, and I like what he's done with Hunter Mahan's basement.
It looks really nice.
Yeah. It looks like he has like a master's locker room or something back there.
So this next level, you like Rahm, Noah, for Brooks? You prefer Rahm at 12 than Brooks at 12?
It's tough. This is sort of in the moment of trying to do this Sunday morning with football games. Rahm was the guy that I clicked on, therefore Rahm is the guy that I'm here with. Now, I put a little more thought into my other picks.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, once you take one guy from this range, realistically, that's it. Like, unless you just bet two guys, one 6-1, one 10-1, and make that your card. I mean, that's one way to play it, but I mean, that's not how I play it. So, next level. So I said Scheifele, Cantley is 22, Scheifele is 25, Kisner, Harmon, Perez is 30, Berger's 33, Cam Smith 33, Henley is 40. He's getting a lot of buzz around the industry. Chappell is 50, Brendan Steele, then Kyle Stanley and Austin Cook at 60 and 66 to 1. Austin Cook also getting a lot of buzz as well. Is there anyone from that range that you like? Because I said we talk about the Aussies, but I do like Brian Harmon. He's 3 straight top 10s, immaculate short game. He has played this course before, a John Deere winner. I worry that his iron game isn't where it really needs to be right now. But
Bulldog swag.
The Bulldog swag is on the go. But at 28, I don't love that number for Harmon, and I hate Brian Harmon. So everyone should know, if they're new to the show, every time I pick Brian Harmon, whether it be betting or on DraftKings, he shoots like 17 over. And every time I don't pick him, he tends to play pretty well. But I'm going with him this week, 28-1.
Part of that, they're on to something. For him to be that low, I mean, almost speaks to the short game player success. Because I don't know, that shocked me.
It seems like an odd number.
It does seem like a really odd number. And someone we didn't speak about in his number, I mean, Xander and Cantley are popping real quality numbers in a strong field that I like him. Cantley made number 4 on our top 10 list of mine. And when you consider who my top 3 are, 4 is almost like the de facto number 1. Because T3 can't get broken under any circumstances. So it's almost like a special place to be there. And to have that number out of the gate, and you mentioned the struggles of first-timers.
And people with bad short games. If there's one thing that Cantley has, he does not have a good short game.
But this puts into perspective the Cantley numbers we're going to get all year long. I almost need him to like sink a bit so we can get, and then we can like get a number again.
I agree.
If he goes, I assume because he's so young, maybe I'm wrong, he feels he's that accomplished. Is he going to be at the Sony next week?
I don't know. I haven't looked at the field for the Sony yet.
Neither have I, but assuming he's there, what kind of numbers Cantley got at the Sony? Just a guess.
He's probably the favorite, unless Ricky plays. Ricky usually plays the Sony, I feel.
So Cantley and Henley are going to be co-favorites at the Sony next week? That's, But he hit for us, or for me at the Shiners at such a low number.
Yeah, and I wasn't on it because I thought the number was too low and I was wrong.
Cantley watch every week. That's all. Whether betting or not, Cantley watch.
Like I said during that preview show, which everyone can go back and watch, either the number is too high or way too low. It's now getting to the point where it just seemed. But I made the stupid mistake with a bunch of people last year. Where it's Henley's getting up too high.
That Chappell number.
Yeah.
Was no, I can't bet him at that number. The Henley one sticks out too. No, not touching that number.
And then boom, they win.
A few times that happened.
So I don't want to miss the boat with Cantley, but I had more faith in Herman at a better number, so that's where I'm going.
There's a couple guys in this range that I have bet. One of them is cursed.
Should we reveal who has been? I actually basically paid Tim $50 not to tail my picks this year. He said he wasn't going to make golf picks anymore, and I said, what are you going to do? He's like, I'm just going to use your picks. I was like, don't do that. That's a bad idea. Do not be tailing my picks. So I paid for his entry to the one and done. I was like, if you win, give me bit of a cut of it.
Yeah, you get
if not, you just have to make your own picks, and you have to announce your own picks and don't tail mine. So he has picked a person that you really like, Daniel Berger, 33-1.
Daniel Berger, obviously I'm a big Berger fan, and there's times I get suckered into him anyway. I really like the situation for him this week to begin with. If you've been following Daniel, he strikes me as someone super motivated to get this season going. The way just a lot of the behind-the-scenes glimpses he's been given into his limited offseason. He ain't showing up this week in board shorts and sandals. That's a part of this tournament.
It is, but we saw Spieth and Thomas doing it last year. They finished 1-2.
Yeah, and that's the other part of it.
Maybe it's more relaxing for them. Maybe that helps them.
Okay, maybe. But to me, this killer's gonna do very well this week, minus the Ander curse. And I'm not worried about bad golf now. It's you know how last year we saw Spieth and JT going boogie boarding while the other guys were playing golf, and the camera had a fun time with that, and the guys in the announce booth, where they're gonna have a live shot of Leishman on the green putting, and they'll be making note of Berger in the background.
And then a shark comes out and eats him.
He's going to capsize or something.
He does set up well for this tournament. But is he someone that can only win the St. Jude Classic?
No! I spoke about that in our top 10 show. No. 2-time winner this year. So that means something happens other than St. Jude. I'm not saying it's this week. I really like it. He was potentially going to be my one and done. I can't go there now because
of the curse.
Because of the curse.
Respect the curse. I know Paul Shag, producer of the Pat Mayo Experience, has... Well, he tweeted this out earlier, and you can follow Paul at Paul Shag. That his free money head-to-head bet this week is now Brennan Steele over Daniel Berger in a head-to-head.
So Paul Shag is going to have the running free money head-to-head, which is against whichever head-to-head his book offers.
Against Tim's pick.
Against Tim's pick. So whatever book Paul's on, he's fading. Yeah. Okay, I like it.
What's that? Will Hill.
All right, yeah.
All right, there we go.
The Aussies.
Yeah, so Cam comes in hot fire. So he won the team event at the Zurich Classic with Jonas Blix.
And he disappeared.
And then he missed 7 of his next 9 cuts. Weirdly enough, remember how I mentioned the Wyndham as one of those? He did come in 7th at the Wyndham during that stretch, weirdly enough. Short game and putting, that's his entire game. Then he gets to the BMW Championship during the FedEx Cup playoffs because he still had retained so many FedEx Cup points. And then he comes like 25th. Then he goes overseas during the Asian swing on the PGA Tour, starts reeling off some top 10s. Then goes back to Australia.
For the Masters.
Finishes 4th at the Australian Masters, wins the Australian PGA Championship. My question to you, has he peaked?
No.
No.
I'm on Cam Smith this week. He is going to be my one and done.
We'll talk about one and done strategy a little bit later on.
Okay. But I'm just not worried if I burn him, I burn him. I'm confident he's going to play well. I'm going to bet him. Therefore, he's going to make my one and done card because I like to. My one and done is usually someone that's going to be on the pack, and I ain't using like Rahm or Hideki.
Why not?
Because okay, I guess that's part of strategy.
This we'll get to later on.
Yeah, because Cam will do it. I'm confident, man. I think he's.
Put it this way, I have more confidence that Cam Smith. Not to say that he can't win this week, obviously. He's playing really well. I have more confidence that he'll win Shell than win this tournament. Like, I'd rather burn him there.
There's other guys at Shell, though. I don't know. You could use, like, Tony Finau at Shell.
You could, but you could use Cam Smith, too, and you could use Rahm right now.
I'm using Cam Smith. For this tournament specifically, the strategy's a bit different. We'll talk about that when you want to talk about it, because everybody is going to get something decent, and I think he's going to play like he's been playing. Mark Leishman also has been playing well and had a good Aussie run. But I'm going with Cam Smith.
He's a better number as well, although it's not a generous number.
It's what, 25, 22? What is it?
It's 33 for Cam.
Oh, sorry. For I got a 40 on Cam.
Well, let's see. You're not getting that number anymore. It's 33 now, and Leishman's 20. Aussies play well in the wind historically, and this could get really windy. Plus, I would have more confidence in Cam as well over Leishman because of the short game and his ability to score on par fours. Leishman's probably overall a better player, but Cam's up and coming. Like, is this as good as he's going to be, or is there a next level for him? That's sort of my Cam Smith question. I don't know the answer to it, by the way. If I did, I would have more money.
He is a first-timer. Womp womp.
He is a first-timer, which I don't love. And if I'm going to take a first-timer, I'd rather get the lofty each ways on some of the guys way down the card. But that's me. So this next level here, like I mentioned, Henley, do you have interest? Sony winner, plays well in Bermuda.
I'm seeing the butter turn. Wind player.
Good wind player yet? Just a good player in general.
Won in Hawaii. That seems to be the narrative. A lot of people I like and respect are hyping him up this week. I think he'd make a nice member of a DraftKings team.
I was looking at his price. I think he's a very, very generous price on DraftKings. Yeah, he's $7,800. He's in that perfect range. The problem is I like Pat Perez more at $8,000. Pat Perez is fire right now.
Fire.
He was 10th here last year as well.
Oh.
So, like that was the big choice for me.
Fan.
Like when I looked in that range, like Perez is there, Berger's there, Harmon's there, Kisner's there, and we just kind of glossed over him. No one's going to be using him.
Well, he's like Harmon, Kisner. They're kind of like the
same
guy to me.
Just take the guy who's playing better right now. But Cam Smith was there, Henley's there, and Chappell's there, who kind of raised. He just can't putt. If he could putt, he'd be a great pick, but he can't putt. Maybe it's one of those weeks where it kind of flips on a dime, but at a hard putting course, I don't think I'd want to take the crappiest putter in the field.
Sometimes Hideki can't putt.
Sometimes Hideki can't, but he's so good tee to green that he overcomes that. If he has a decent putting week, he wins. If he has a bad putting week, he comes 5th. So I think he's the nice pivot, one and done pick, by the way. I don't think a lot of people are going to use him.
But I'm saving him for Phoenix.
Exactly. Listen, everyone who did that last year, it paid off in spades. He won. I was there last year, and I used Byung-Hun An as my one and done. He was winning through. He was winning through 3 rounds. I was following him around the course. Like, this is gonna be great. Yeah. Everyone blew Hideki. He didn't win. I took the guy no one had, and I'm gonna cash in. And then Byung-Hun An made the turn as the leader.
Put in the
did not finish the round as the leader. I think he finished like 5th or something. So the final range here, you just have the bunch of like the rest of the guys. So you have like Steele, Stanley, DeChambeau, Kazire, Kim, Duffner, Swafford, Hadwin, Grayson, Vegas, Ryan Armour, points. Totally forgot he won last year. Chris Stroud, Wes Bryant, Jonas Blixt, and Billy Hoschel. I have some picks from down here. I have zero confidence in any of them because, they're down here. First-time players don't do well. But sticking with the same narrative of Spieth's won JDC and a lot of past winners, one of the reasons I'm on Harman, plus he's playing well, I'm going to take Bryson. I'm going to each way him. I do like Bryson here. The problem is, much like Patrick Cantlay, not great around the greens. So he needs to have a really fire irons week to get it going. But the putter can come and go. We can see him get hot with the putter. We've seen that in the past. I think he's discount Cantlay this week. Like, you're getting triple the number on DeChambeau. I don't think they're the same guy. I don't think they're the same guy because clearly, as we've seen over the past year, Cantlay has just been better. But I mean, if you had had this conversation 1 year ago today, 100% of people would have said DeChambeau is better. Just like 100% of people said that Hideki was going to win this tournament last year, and then he didn't. You know what I mean? Like, so much can change in golf, just with different swings, with momentum, recent form, everything like that. I think Bryson's in a good spot. He has 3 straight top 20s coming into this.
Played with Trump last week.
Oh, did he? I didn't see that.
You know that thing with, like, the van blocking them?
No, I didn't see that.
No. Okay. Anyways, he was out there with Trump.
I like him at, like I said, discount Cantlay. Worst player, is he 3 times worse than Cantlay? Does he have a 3 times worse chance of winning? I don't think so.
I love Cantlay, but like books are taking Cantlay action to make those numbers that way.
Everyone wants to be there.
He already won. What do you mean be there?
No, like be there now. Like, yeah,
he was 16-1 to win the Shriners.
Sure, but no one plays the Shriners.
Okay, fine.
It's not like the Shriners aren't the Masters.
So people that don't bet golf normally want to bet Cantlay.
No, it's the people that bet the Shriners are the people who be all over Cantlay. Just like the same people that are betting the Tournament of Champions are the people who are like in the know and they all love Cantlay. And they're factoring that in. They're like, screw it. We could post him at 10-1 and people would bet him.
Listen, I had him at the Shriners at 16, and it's just, I know we're going back there, but it is funny that the number is, I mean, the field is smaller, but the number is arguably like comparable.
Yeah.
And he's the best player in this field.
Well, some people might say he's a top 5 player in this field. He's just not there yet.
Maybe.
It was like when Patrick Reed won at Doral, and he's like, I'm a top 5 player in the world.
Here's the thing, though, because to kind of what you're saying, Jordan Spieth said adamantly, if he played more last year, he would have made the President's Cup team.
But he didn't, so we don't know.
No, I know, but that goes to your point of people believing his skill is.
I believe in him too. It's just I don't believe in him here as a first timer at his number. When I can get this other guy who is now 80% the player with a similar skill set at 3 times the number.
I'm on the next guy.
Give it to me.
Well, he's yours.
He is mine. He's an auto bet. I said I'm gonna after this week. I'm probably just gonna stop writing about him. And I'm going to stop putting him in the betting. Just people should know that I will be betting Kim every single week. Every week. He's won the Wyndham, too, which is nice to see. And when he's going to come first or last. There's not a whole lot of in-between for Siwoo Kim. He came, I think, last at this tournament last year. He's someone who swings wildly with the odds. So he wins the players at 500-1. The next week, he's 20-1. Not a great bet at 20-1, but he has 2 bad weeks in a row and misses the cut, and all of a sudden he's 150-1 again. Like, he has enough win equity. He's already won twice.
That almost a full year.
Yeah.
And
well, he was hurt for a lot of last year too. So maybe if he's not hurt, he has dealt with injuries over and over. But it just seems like when he clicks, he clicks. Like all of a sudden he's Rory for 2 tournaments a year or like 4 rounds a year if they can get them all to come at one time. It's just for his win equity versus the field every single week, he is undervalued. That's not to say he's going to win, but I think that he's won 2 of 40 tournaments he's been in his career. So technically he should be 20-1. If I know it doesn't work like that because when he plays the Masters, it's not going to be the same thing. But just in some of these fields, he can get so hot so quickly. He's the perfect kind of player for this event. And the par 5s, the daunting par 5s aren't there for him to waste away shots to Dustin Johnson and Rahm and those guys. It's a wedge fest. It's going to be a wedge fest. Give me Siwoo.
You got a better number than me as well.
Yeah, I looked at the difference on Bodog. He was 70 on Bet365. He is 90.
I got an 80 on Bodog. So
and that number's dropped.
They must have taken that down.
2 more guys from the back of this.
I still like it, though.
2 more guys from the back of this field. I know a lot of people are on Austin Cook. The Fantasy National Simulator loves Austin Cook this week. They have him as the 4th best chance to win this tournament. Like I said, I don't necessarily agree with that, but because a lot of that is just recent form baked in, and a lot of these guys haven't played in a while, or even during the Asian swing, there was no shot tracker, so those stats don't get included. The Australian stuff doesn't get included. The European stuff doesn't get included. It's a weird time of year for stats, so you really kind of need to extrapolate what you need to see if there's any progression being made. Austin Cook is playing excellently, though. So I just don't think he's going to win as a first-timer. Not that I think Siwoo's played this before, so that's nice. Bryson's first-timer, probably not going to win. These ones are all each way to the top 4, too, so you hit one of the top 4 as you're dancing. 2 more guys, though, from the way back in the pack. Ryan Armour, 150. Wes Bryant, 175.
I'm more in on Wes.
He's like has the 3rd worst odds of anyone in this field. But let me ask you, if it's a tournament that relies solely, basically, on wedges and short game, he's probably top 5 in the field at that.
So then,
and driving doesn't really make that much of a difference where he sucks.
Well, I'll say this, and a guy, I saw he was 175 and like Hadwin was 70, and to me they're very comparable, at least in their chance to win this week, are they not?
I would agree with you. Obviously, they feel differently, but like when you look at Wes, like he had a really bad run after winning the Heritage, but the Heritage is very similarly set up. I wouldn't say it's set up the same as this type of course, but it relies on a lot of the same skills.
What mid-level player that won for the first time had a good run after that?
Hadwin, I feel like, played well the next few weeks.
Yeah, and then he got into the Master.
And then he was done for a bit.
I don't know. I'm like Cameron Smith wins like completely.
He falls apart.
Who won't like who? Which
Shifley. Xander continued to play well.
That was big.
And then he won again.
That was big. But I'm just saying, these mid-level guys, they get that win.
Rahm continued to play. He's not a mid-level guy, but he continued to play well. Like he won, and then he got even better.
He's super elite. So I feel like that's fair. I don't know. I mean, look at the field of winners. If you're staring at them, I
am like, you know who actually has continued to play all right. At least statistically, he won, but then he made 3 more cuts. I like Ryan Armour. He has an excellent short game as well. And very good with a wedge.
Wasn't even on, like, I don't know. I really didn't even think about it.
Stanley kind of fell off a cliff after he won.
So
he wasn't a first-time winner.
No, I'm just saying, to that point, like, it seems like when you're a mid-level guy that grinds so hard and, you play against these top fields week in, week out, and you finally get to put something in your trophy case, like, it just seems like a natural, like, human nature.
Yeah, like you get interviews for the first time. You get $1 million in your bank account.
You got to like walk into the clubhouse without having to show your like lanyard because the guy knows, oh, you actually belong in here.
And listen, you get your PGA Tour card for 3 years too. Like that means a lot. Like I was listening to Golflandia with Wiley. He interviewed Austin Cook. And
picking your schedule changes your whole life.
Yeah, and it's funny the way that Austin Cook described it after winning was he's like, I have a job for the next 3 years. Like, I know what my job is.
But it's
like that's a weight off your shoulders. Like if you're someone who's grinding and like he even mentioned like you come outside the top 200 in like FedEx Cup points, you have to go through Q school again. Not even like Webb. Like you got to go back to Q school, qualify for that, and build your way back up. Like there's peace of mind knowing that you can play in any tournament you want now.
Yes, that's exactly it. You can set a schedule that works for you. If you're a family guy, you can take a vacation and not feel like I got to get 14 FedEx Cup points this week.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. So, yes, winning changes everything, and then you also get to go to the Masters.
Yes. Except for Cameron Smith. Except for Jonas Blixt.
Except for Jonas.
And whoever wins the Barbasol. I don't think Chris.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think Chris Stroud gets his.
You didn't even mention what he won, and I was still.
I still don't remember what it was.
The Barbasol?
I want to say it was the Barbasol.
I think it was.
I'm not 100% on that. What's the other one? There's Puerto Rico, the Barbasol, and there's the Barracuda. It could have been the Barracuda.
I'm easily to mix up the Barracuda and the Barbasol.
What did DA Points win? Did he win Shell? I feel like he won like an actual tournament. He may have won Puerto Rico, though. Can't remember. Just remind me to bet Rafael Campos at the Puerto Rico Open this year. And then to take him as a top 10 at the Shell the next week. The only 2 tournaments that guy plays in all year. Well, let's get to it. The picks. For us this week, I will rattle through mine. I am going big. Spieth, 6-1. Herman, dialing it back a bit, 28. Then Bryson, 66. Siwoo, 90. Armour, 150. Brian, 175. All each weighed. And honestly, I'm just hoping to get one of those guys in the mix come Sunday, and then, if Spieth's not there, then I can dump on Hideki, I can dump on Dustin, I can dump on Thomas, whoever, but I have enough equity with those guys, I can make that happen. I like their skill sets the best from the back of this field. Who do you like? All
right, my picks, a bit disingenuous at the top, because I did juice them up with some NFL football, so I have Hideki and Rahm, both in that, 22 to 24 to 1 range.
Okay,
Hideki would be my favorite pick.
Take that out. Okay. If you have the actual odds, which one would you go?
Hideki is my favorite pick of pretty much anybody, I think, in the entire field.
Okay.
That I think it's in that 10 to 12 to 1 range right now. I have Daniel Berger at 30 to 1 before he was cussed. He's still got to ride it. Big year for Dan. He's coming in with that winner's mentality, and I'm expecting the course setting up very nice for him. I'm buying what Cameron Smith is selling in his form.
Cam! Do you think he's going to wear a brimless hat and say he invented it if he won?
No.
Okay.
Brendan Steele is also on my card.
Oh, okay. We didn't even talk about Steele.
Didn't talk about him much, but I don't know. He can...
Steele 6th here last year. And again, he had played the course before. He was 25th the first time he had won, didn't do anything. Wins last year, comes 6th. I like that.
I worry he doesn't have 3 insane birdie days in them. That's my bigger concern. I think there's 1 or 2, but as you mentioned, you've really got to,
You got to get hot.
You got to...
And not only do you need to get hot...
You have to stay hot.
You have to be able to mitigate a missed iron here and there. Because like I said, Spieth led the field in birdies last year. He lost by a bunch because he couldn't chip. That's a real thing. So, short game is important. That's why DeChambeau scares the crap out of me. And Cantley.
Yeah, and I'm buying what Siwoo selling. You've got a 90. I was only able to pull an 80. I
couldn't talk you into Wes Bryant. 175.
I'll play Wes Bryant at 175.
It's a bomb.
Yeah.
The 4 for me are just bombs. They're not, even... I mean, they're serious bets because I made them, but they're not I don't expect them to win. And the one good thing about all this stuff coming out right now, and normally we're not going to cover this on the show because the odds just aren't out, but first-round leader odds are out. People know how much I love first-round leaders. Last year, I believe Daniel Berger was the first-round leader at this event. I think he was 6 under. Listen, the first-round leader strategy is very simple for me. I just take a bunch of long shots, usually 7 to 10 a week. I like to use Bet365 so I can each weigh them. And which means that if they come inside this week, because it's a shrunken field, it's top 4. Generally, it's top 5. At majors, you might find top 7, top 8, depending on whatever you use. That's why I wish I was in Britain, because the Britain gives way better each way odds. Either way, it's top 4 this week. Just take guys. If you go back and look at who's led after first rounds of every tournament, you will be stunned by the names that are. Remember Sebastian Munoz? And you can catch these guys 200 to 1.
Shiv Kapoor?
Yeah. So this week I'm going bombs only. If you don't need to make big bets on them, you don't need to do that, but it's fun to kind of track. I have 4 of them. I'm going Grayson Murray, 90 to 1. Hudson Swafford, 75 to 1. Ryan Ahmel, 110. Also 110, Wes Bryant. Just need 1 round from you, and I need it to be the first round. And listen, if you come third, still doing fine.
I thought you might have even had Swaff on your outright.
I was thinking about it's funny because when I used
I saw Fantasy National was popping Swaff.
It was popping Swaff. The big thing though, again, like
Bombers mitigated.
It's not even that Bombers are mitigated. It's just right now it's really tough. Like even with the custom model, like I like to use it. It's the same as a simulator, mainly because it gives me insight that maybe I'm just not seeing. But there's been so many tournaments in the swing season and people playing at different places around the world that it's hard to judge because there's no shot tracker.
Yes.
So once we get into like middle of February, we'll then have 6 straight tournaments of data.
Of course.
For real recent form. Now you're kind of picking and choosing what you really want to see. But over the last 12 rounds, at least by my power ranks in the custom model that I built for myself, which everyone can do if they go to fantasynational.com, build your own, pay the membership fee now, no longer free. I should have used it yesterday. It was still free with all the data in it. Now you got to pay. Armour, Thomas, Bryson, Spieth, and Swafford were my first 3. Kazire was next. Maybe I'll throw Kazire into the first round leader mix too. I don't even know what his number is. I'm gonna guess it's like 80. That sounds about right, doesn't it? Actually, it depends on what it is. I'll go look at it right now. What's his odds to win?
Brick shithouse.
Kazire?
I was not on when he won last year.
He's 70 as an outright. Yeah, his odds aren't gonna be good enough. Screw that. I'm not dipping down below the 50 range for first round leader bets at the Tournament of Champions. I'm hoping to get lucky, basically is what it amounts to. But those guys I was kind of stunned popped up on mine.
And you assume there's no point in betting Siwoo first round leader because if he's first round leader, he's probably just going to win the whole thing, right?
And his odds also aren't great for first round leader. Like all these guys are in the 100 to 1 range in terms of like outrights for the tournament. Who else? Like long term, or I did over the last 100 rounds because the reason I don't normally include last 100 rounds when I set my model, but where there's been so few stats recently, I want to get a long-term view of, hey, who actually has this skill set and has done it over a long course of time. So the power rankings, unsurprisingly, 1 through 5 in terms of rankings, Spieth, Thomas, Dustin, Hideki, and Fowler. Rate the 5 best, and they are the 5 highest. And then after that, it's Rahm. Then it's Wes Bryan, Kevin Kisner, Berger, and Brooks Koepka.
Interesting.
It's just Wes was so bad after he won. But the short game never went away. The irons never went away. The putting never went away. He just physically cannot drive the ball. But as we've seen, the shorter hitters are not at a huge disadvantage.
Wide fairways.
Wow, the biggest fairways on tour. Land 8 jumbo jets on them. Might have room for 1 more. And again, the holes are so weirdly, like, the layout for the holes is so weird that bombers can get themselves to the spot, the shorter hitters can get themselves to the spot. So I like that a lot this week. Finally, one and done selections of the week. So if everyone is in the big one and done, I will let you know now my picks on this show will not necessarily correlate with the picks that I make in those because the strategy changes. For our one and done purposes, I am playing you. Heads up, $100?
$100.
$100 for the year? Shake
Sure.
on it? Perfect. And listen, there are different strategies. So let's talk about one and done strategy just for a second. I've played this now like 4 or 5 years. I'm not good at it by any means. But the most success that I've had is actually my show picks because I don't care. Like if someone is in a good spot to win, I don't save them. I just use it. Was like Dustin at Riviera last year. I was just like, I'll use Dustin. He'll probably win. And he won. And they're like, boom, that's $1 million in your bank right off the hop. So this week, for the one and done, and this is a strategy that I'm employing for the season. I'm not saving Rory for Quail Hollow. Put it that way, because that was a big one last year. Oh, can't use Rory here, can't use Rory here. The move actually just would have been never to use Rory, but to save him for a spot where he was perfectly lined up for, great. What happens if he doesn't play or he's hurt? Oh, that's not good. So I like Spieth. I'm going to use Spieth. And listen, the $1 million from this tournament counts as much as the $1 million from a more competitive field. It's a short.
Or the 1.3 from the Masters.
Yeah, like this is a small field
maybe that's
with a bunch of good players, and top-end players generally win this. Like, why wouldn't you use a top-end player here? The money all counts the same. Doesn't matter where you win it. So Spieth for me.
I'm very torn between Hideki and Cam Smith. I thought I was going Cam Smith, and you kind of we're like, no, we're going to talk strategy, and you why wouldn't you be using Hideki? Because you acknowledged knowing that he was my favorite pick this week to begin with.
Listen, you can save him for Phoenix if you want to.
The first time I was in a one and done pool a few years ago, might have been when the first time we started doing the show. I was like, I'll pick Jeff Ogilvy. Everyone gets paid. He's the worst golfer in the field. He's the last guy I want to burn. He finished it last, and it was like, you're an idiot.
I did the same thing with, like, Scott Piercy last year. I was like, oh, Piercy's heating up.
Like, there's no miscut. Like, why use anyone but a guy? Everyone's going to take home, like, something. Don't do that. Don't do that.
I mean, you can do that. That's fine. But, like, I forget who it was who tweeted it out, but, like, I think they said Pat Perez was the only player below $7,500 on DraftKings for this tournament last year that came inside the top 10. Good players play well here. So take a good player. That would be my advice. But again, I'm awful at this, so you might want to fade me.
I'm going to take Cam Smith.
You're going to take Cam Smith?
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned somewhere else I'd use him. No, I'm happy. I think he's playing great. If I burn him, I burn him. I'm expecting him to play well.
Listen, you don't take players that you don't think are going to play well.
But if you wanted to be more aggressive and have Pat's strategy, my suggestion is Hideki, and I'll let you know in the big Gups Corner pool that we're over 1,700 people.
Yeah, I have 2 entries in that too. So I'm trying to figure out the strategy of playing 2 entries versus 1.
I'll be playing Cam or Hideki there 100%. I'll try to be honest. Don't ask me on Twitter because I'm going to be honest on here.
Yeah, well, you got to watch the show if you want the picks. That's the whole point of the show.
It's like I'm in the same pool as you. So if you want the pick, you at least have to watch the show where I'm giving the pick. That's all. And like you said, I don't really have a great track record.
I mean, no one really does. Who has a good one-and-done track record?
I'm sure there's a guy sitting out there with like back-to-back T20 seasons, and he's got it all marked, the whole schedule out.
Well, someone even fired at me. It was just like, oh, you want to play in my one-and-done pool? You make all your picks for the tournament before the season starts. I was like, that sounds awful.
That just sounds like too much work.
It sounds like a lot of work, but like I don't even know who's playing. What if I pick someone they don't play in the tournament? That's stupid.
When you make all your NFL picks
before week 1,
yeah. You made 16 picks.
I will say, a strategy that I found that worked out for me, and obviously it doesn't work every week, but you can always fade, like you can figure out who the chalky guys for 1-and-done are going to be. Like Ricky's going to be chalky this week, Spieth will be chalky. Hideki may or may not be, I'm not sure yet, but defined basically the 5 top players in the field, odds-wise. And again, this week that's Spieth, Thomas, Ricky, Dustin, Hideki, Brooks, and Rahm. I'll throw those 7 guys. They're all 12 to 1 or below. And just take the one guy out of those that no one else is taking.
Yeah. Like Dustin, maybe.
Dustin, I think, is the guy this week. I haven't heard a single person mention, you know who's going to win this week? Dustin Johnson.
I'll say that.
And are you going to be super stunned if Dustin wins? No. Well, and if he does win, you and 10 other people are on him, while everyone else has burned Spieth.
The first thing that hit me with the DraftKings number was like, there's 4 players ahead of Dustin, maybe 3.
There's 3. Yeah, the top of the DraftKings this week.
Jordan, Ricky.
It's Thomas, Spieth, and Fowler, 1, 2, 3. Then it's Dustin.
There's 3 guys ahead of Dustin Johnson.
The number 1 player in the world.
Maybe I want Dustin Johnson. So, yeah, I get it.
But I think this works kind of the same way as sort of like these large field GPP strategies on DraftKings. Like identify... You don't necessarily need to fade the most popular players, but I think it is smart to know who is projected to be the highest owned, that if you do want to, hey, if I'm constructing a lineup and I don't want it to be the chalkiest thing in the world, do I want to pivot off of Jordan Spieth onto Dustin Johnson, or do I want to pivot off of, I don't know, who's going to be super hot down at the bottom, Russell Henley onto Patton Kazire? You know what I mean? Give me the best player. I would still prefer to have the best players in my line if I have to eat the Henley chalk, which I'm not going to do because I don't love Henley.
I feel like last year, like Sony, I ate like Jimmy Walker Sony. I feel like he didn't even
think about Justin,
live to tomorrow.
And even when we did the 1-and-done last year, Justin Thomas won this event, and he was like 3 people took him at Sony. And he was the best player in the field.
Oh, on the follow-up.
The follow-up, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And no one took him at this one either.
So he can't win twice.
Yeah, how could Justin Thomas ever win 2 tournaments in a row? Player of the year.
What most impressed me about Justin Thomas was winning, because I always knew he could win at Kapalua, like the birdie race.
Yeah.
Winning a tournament that was like more of a grind kind of.
That surprised me too.
That's taking it to a whole new level, at least in my. I know a lot of people saw that in him. I was hesitant that he could do that, so full marks.
And I always thought that if he was going to compete in majors, the PGA Championship would be the one that I thought he could win, because it's generally the easiest. But that one actually played probably the most difficult of all the majors this year.
And he was, the U.S. Open?
Yeah, but the U.S. Open played super easy.
Yeah, fair.
And he went out and shot a 63.
Yeah.
So
did Grace.
Grace shot 62 at the Open.
Yeah, okay.
And then Haotong shot 63 on the final day to come third. So we're going to be seeing him at all the majors this year. Haotong.
His mom will be there then.
Also, the DraftKings community, DraftKings golf community, they got a boner for Patrick Cantlay. Also love Haotong.
I could see that.
They just do. He's a very popular player among people who golf Twitter, basically.
So Euro DK.
Does he even play Euro? I think he just plays like Asian Tour. I don't really
I don't
follow
know
what Haotong Lee is up to, or Lee Haotong.
I imagine he'll be on the Euro Tour this year.
He might be, or he may just play some majors and say, that's enough for me.
I don't know.
Play the Tiger schedule.
Remember, his mom went into the water to get his putter.
I don't remember that.
It's like one of the clips of the year. He broke his.
I just don't remember. There's a lot of stuff going on over 365 days. It's not all just ingrained.
Yeah.
The only two
great moment.
The only two three water things that I really stick out to me: Rory chucking his club into the water at the Honda when he was all pissed off.
And it was like Trump, because Trump was a big.
It was at Doral.
Yeah.
Woody Austin at the President's Cup trying to hit the ball out of the water and then falling ass backwards into it. And Pablo Larrazabal, you got a pronunciation correction there? Larrazabal. He was being attacked by bees in India during a tournament, jumped in the water to get away from them.
And you remember Bill Haas for the FedEx
Bill Haas. That was just an excellent shot out of the water to win the FedEx Cup.
Sure. Wasn't really
But those ones are more funny, water-related stories, like the one that you're kind of talking about. Anyway, that'll do it on the Pat Mayo Experience. First one of the season. You can subscribe to the Pat Mayo Experience audio versions on iTunes, Stitcher, Podomatic, Audio Boom, and Google Play, of course. You can find the video versions up on the DraftKings YouTube page, short clips up on my Facebook page, facebook.com/thepme, where the betting guide will be this year. Won't be on DraftKings Playbook. Only my DraftKings picks will be, so you have to subscribe to my Facebook feed in order to get those. I'll probably tweet them out as well. And DK Live for a lot of these short clips. Jeff, you can follow on Twitter at GFienberg17. Pumped for the playoffs, even though the Chargers aren't in?
Starting in round 2.
I like the 2 NFC games this week. Yeah. I think they're going to be more competitive than the spreads would dictate.
The AFC games
are just garbage.
Whatever.
Well, you're not fired up for Jags Bills?
I am actually fired up for that. Like the Marone factor.
Oh, Marone revenge situation?
There's some cool aspects of it.
I feel like they're the same team, but Jacksonville has a significantly better defense.
Listen, I'm happy the Bills got in. God forbid everything went the Chargers' way, and then that happened, and it cost the Chargers the playoff spot in that Bengal game. I wouldn't be here. But that being said, the Chargers have no one to blame but themselves.
Yeah, make a fucking field goal and you're in the playoffs.
Don't go 0-4. There's a reason, one team in the history of football that went 0-4 made the playoffs. Subsequently was a Charger team. But, reminded me of the end of Mighty Ducks 2, when Wolf the Dentist Stenson says to Gunnar Stahl, "You lost it for me."
You lost it for yourself.
We lost it for ourselves. I'm happy for Buffalo. I can't hold anything against any teams that won Week 17 that cost us anything.
In fairness, I saw a lot of people reach out to you, Bills fans, and we know a lot of Bills fans. And they said if the Bills couldn't make it, they were rooting for the Chargers to make it.
Yeah, and I don't know. I believe that because maybe we would have been a more entertaining team than the Titans.
I actually thought that. Well, yes, I actually thought out of all the teams that competed on Sunday for the last 2 AFC wildcard spots, I don't think the Chargers were going to win the AFC, but I feel like they were the only team that had the potential to win the AFC.
Because we have a pass rush?
And a good quarterback.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I'm excited for next year a lot, but that's too many shows away from now.
All right, I'm Pat Mayo. You can follow me at the PME on Twitter. Again, the Facebook feed is facebook.com/thepme. If you're looking for the cheat sheet for the show, remember to subscribe, give the show a like, do all that fun stuff, and leave your DraftKings name in the comment section with who you think is going to win to enter the Super Pat News Studio, which may or may not ever happen. New draw. Hopefully it happens. I'm really banking on that to happen. So it'll be good news for you when that happens as well. And finally, go back and watch the shows from the holiday season. If you miss them, there's a ton up there. There's Cuts Corner up there too, which is always fun to record. Anyway, I'm Pat Mayo. Good luck with the Tournament of Champions. I'll see you next time.